Hello and welcome to a special edition of To The Point. My guest today is Dr. Farooq Abdullah, thrice the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir and currently the Minister for Renewable Energy. Welcome, Dr. Abdullah.
Thank you.
Dr. Abdullah, you straddle many public images. Your detractors in Kashmir consider you more Indian than most Indians. People of Jammu say you are discriminatory to the region. Others like your flamboyance. Some other critics say you are a dynast. What is your self-image?
I'm just a human being, a normal human being. That's all. I live and allow others to live. And that is the best thing of life. Life comes only once. So live it to the fullest and the best you can do without harming anybody on the way.
But you are not comfortable with any of these categorizations of you.
I don't think so. People categorize people. I think categorization is very easy. I think we are all normal human beings.
So you would say you're a multidimensional, multifaceted
Well, I
personality.
think it depends on people, how they look at you. I live a normal life. And if they see me in a different way, it's for them to see.
Your career spans over 3 decades. If you were to look back, what kind of Kashmir did you inherit? And what kind of Kashmir have you left for your son to govern?
See, I inherited a Kashmir which was vibrant, which was developing. My father left me a strong party. When I got onto this chair, I had far more difficulties because I was new and my understanding of the politics was different to many people's feeling. I thought we could make friends with all. I realized it's not so. Politics is a game which you play where you have to be very careful and you have to have friends and foes. During this time, my party got divided, it became weaker. Then started the period of militancy and the state was left into terrible destruction with ethnic cleansing that took place. Our brethren had to leave the state to a point today where my son has got a state which is got to be built back again from what my father had left. That is to bring the brotherhood back, the development spree to be increased, and relationship with the nation to be strengthened.
You first appointed your brother, Dr. Mustafa Kamal, as the spokesperson of your party. But then people say you got upset with his plain speak, his distrust of the army. You got so upset that you removed him. Why do you remove him?
You see, we are in a coalition politics. In coalition politics, you have to be very careful in using your words so that you do not hurt the sentiments of the other party with whom you're working. Unfortunately, my brother is a very simple man and a very straight man. But he kept on playing up some of the things which did not work well with augur well with the politics that we have in our state. Either we are with our coalition partners or we should say goodbye to them. And I told him very clearly that this is not on. You are actually the working general secretary of the party, and one day you will become the party general secretary. So you have to be very careful. Well, repeated warnings did not help, but he kept on his path. And I had no option but to remove him so that we could work smoothly forwards. We have a phase of development, and that phase of development cannot be completed unless both these parties, Congress and National Conference, work together.
What do you say to your critics who say that you've always tried to keep political power within your family?
No, it's not a question of within my family. It is a party of National Conference. There is no question of family. My father didn't want me to come into politics, but I felt I had something in me that I could give to people. So I didn't want my son to come, but I couldn't stop my son. It's a democratic country, and people chose him. So I don't think the question is that I've kept within my family. There are certain things one has to be very careful in choosing people for your party, and that is what is essential.
You know, in the 70s, even you toyed with the idea of Azadi. And you even visited Pakistan occupied Kashmir. You met Makbul Butt. How do you see your journey from Azadi to somebody
Azadi
who
can be of
says,
many types. It's not necessary. Azadi does not mean freedom from India. We are part of this nation. But there are certain commitments that nation has made towards the people. The accord that was signed in 1975 and what had to follow further to that accord. These are some of the things we are actually even today fighting for. That within the nation, we have a federal structure. And to strengthen this federal structure, even Sarkaria Commission was made. So our fight is actually to strengthen this federal structure, and as far as the state of Jammu and
but this
Kashmir
is the
concerned-
point you've arrived at now. Were
No,
you at
I
the
have
same
always
point?
been there. I have always been there.
So Azadi, while Kashmir is integral part of India.
Yes, why not Azadi? What is wrong with, we are free people. But we have certain commitments that have been made to the state as far as autonomy is concerned.
But hold on.
And then now, interlocutors report, that is lying with the center. What for is that made? That is made because to see what is the position that has been eroded and what can be done to return that so that the peace and tranquility can return to the state.
Okay, hold on to that thought. We'll be back again. It's time for a short break. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV. Welcome back. We are in conversation with Dr. Farooq Abdullah. Dr. Abdullah, do you sometimes think the politician in you gets the better of you? Because you end up making statements which I'm sure at some, later on you probably regret making them. For example, in 2007, you questioned the accession of Kashmir to India, saying that the National Conference has been forced to rethink Kashmir's accession with India because of the army's wrongdoings. So do you find that you keep on doing these things?
This is not true. You see, one wrong done by the forces negates all the good things that are done. And I, as Chief Minister, faced a terrible time at times where things went wrong.
You got so angry that you started
I had
questioning.
to, because it's not the question of attacking the accession. It is a question of telling them that we are part of this nation. Treat us as part of this nation. You cannot brickbat us, thinking that we are all part of Pakistan, because there are some people who are thinking in those terms.
Was there a veiled threat in that? Or it was
No,
just
there was
anger?
no
It was
vague
just
threat.
anger.
It was just question of putting the anguish, the pain that one felt. It was that pain that one felt, that one had to say that for God's sake, look into this thing so that these things don't happen and that we who believe in India don't suffer because the forces against us use this to beat us with whenever something goes wrong. That was why I raised this thing, not to leave the nation.
Okay, do you concede the charge that your party actually presided over the erosion of autonomy in Jammu and Kashmir? You contested the 1996 election on the informal promise that autonomy will be restored. Did you not? Yet, during your tenure, the autonomy of Kashmir, whatever little it had, actually got eroded.
No, in my time nothing was eroded.
No?
When in 96 I came back to power, we were the first people to bring the resolution of autonomy in the House when BJP was here in power. And without reading that, they threw it out of the window. And I complained to them. I said to them, without reading it, you should see first, then discuss what is possible, what is not possible.
But didn't they say that it should have been approved by your cabinet first and then it should have come, etc.?
No question of cabinet approval. It was approved by the Assembly, 2/3 majority by the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, by the people. That is what Assembly is. It represents the people. Who else do you want it to be presented by?
You think that blueprint would have given greater autonomy to Kashmir and it was
I
rejected
tell
by
you,
the BJP?
that would have been the basis for future progress, that we would have not lost so much of time, that we have had so many commissions since then. Sarkaria, that Justice Sagir's commission, we've had the interlocutors. Was it necessary? If that report had been seen at that time and had been acted upon, and then had discussion, varied discussion with all political parties of the nation, and then arrived at a consensus, that would have been much better way.
But it's a document of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly, so it's a live document. Why don't
It
you
is
now?
a live document. We're still fighting for it.
So why don't you now? You are in this government. Why don't you tell them now? Consider
We are
this.
already saying it. It's not that we have stopped it. We continuously tell them.
Why don't,
That is why on this interlocutors were formed. We are waiting for their report now.
But why doesn't the Jammu and Kashmir government? Why don't you advise your son to resubmit that report to the centre and say consider
It is
this?
already there. Why should we resubmit something which is already with them?
Wasn't it sent back?
No, it
Never
wasn't
back?
sent back. Nothing is sent back. It's all here.
Now, what's also happening, in talking to the separatists, is that now suddenly you find that New Delhi is giving some space to even Syed Ali Shah Gilani, whom jokingly once you referred to as your bete noir. Now, would you like to see Gilani also come into some kind of a dialogue with Government of India?
You see, who says no? From the day one, even when I won with 2/3 majority in '96, I offered to all the separatists, I said, I'm ready to dissolve this assembly for re-election, please come in and go to the people and tell them and represent people. I'm much happier if Government of India talks to them, because finally we want everybody on board so that we can have peace and tranquility in our nation.
What do you say to Mirwais being allowed to address the Jama Masjid Friday prayers? And there he talks about India, Pakistan, Kashmir. Do you think it's a good idea? Are people free to...
This is a free nation. In this free nation, anybody can say anything. What I would request these people is that please, let us not create hatred in the nation. Let us build bridges. If his making efforts in Indo-Pakistan peace can help, we're welcome. But let us not create situations whereby hatred develops in the nation.
True, but I'm saying that Kashmir was never a Muslim issue in that sense. That
It is never a Muslim issue
exactly.
even now.
So then
It
why
is
go
a
to Jama
diction.
Masjid? Why go to Jama Masjid and speak from the
Ask
pulpit?
him. I never went to Jama Masjid.
I'm asking, what do
he
you
went
think?
to
Do you
Jama
think you should have held a press conference rather than go to Jama Masjid?
You should ask the head of the Jama Masjid, Bukhari Sahib, what was the need for it. It is for them to decide. I'm not the one who asked him to come and speak. He said, you all heard it. I also read it in the papers, what he said.
What kind of constituency do you think they're trying to address?
I think they have, unfortunately, their overlords across the border. So they have to say things which will please those people. For long they have been funding them. They have been coaxing them. Their High Commission here is an open house for them. Money goes from there to them. So that is the center of that they would like to please.
Okay, let me ask you another question about constituencies that politicians address. After you became Chief Minister in 1996, you once advocated bombing of POK. Now, what kind of constituency were you addressing?
Never. In '96, I never did this thing. It was when Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister, and they kept on burning our schools, and they burnt our bridges and government hospitals and government properties all over the place. They killed workers who were pro-India, whether they were for Congress, they were communists, or they were National Conference. The whole thing that was being done, at that time I told them that, look, when Gaddafi raised a revolt and Americans sent their planes all the way from London, England, they sent them to bomb, and Gaddafi lost his daughter. And if you remember what Reagan said, you're either with us or you're with them, right? At that time I told Rajiv that these mirages that fly in the air and then crash at such expensive thing as one of those that crashed in Palam Airport. I said, if you know where the camps are, I never said bomb Pakistan. I said, if you know where the camps are and your information is right, where from these militants are coming, why can't you bomb those camps so that they know that we are not going to stand up to this nonsense? I never said bomb Pakistan.
Okay. Let me ask you something different now. What is your political ambition at the center? And your ambition in national politics, is it in consonance with what you want for Kashmir?
As a central minister, I am here to facilitate things for the state of Jammu, Kashmir and Ladakh and rest of the country. Particularly because I belong to the state of Jammu and Kashmir, if there are problems that arise, I am able to talk to my ministerial colleagues and see that those are solved. So I act as a facilitator here for that state.
It's time for a short break again. We'll be back again soon. Don't go away. Welcome back. We are in conversation with Dr. Farooq Abdullah. Dr. Abdullah, once your party was unopposed, to supreme in Jammu and Kashmir, but it seems to have lost significant ground to the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. How did this come about? How has J&K politics changed that NC can be pushed aside?
There are a lot of reasons in this. One was failure of some of my colleagues who were members of assembly for their wrongdoings at that time. Some of the things PDP was able to be boosted up by the central government of that time so that they could divide us and thereby have a angle to push us down. All these combinations worked at that time in 2002 elections. But inshallah, in the coming elections that will come, you will see the results in 2014. PDP will find its Waterloo.
Do you think there are people in Delhi who do not want any individual, even if that individual is an Abdullah, or any party to become indispensable?
It is in their long-term planning. They do not want. That is why you find there are no leaders emerging in the country. It is because politics that is played of divide and rule, that is hitting India today in a big way. You look at UP, where are the leaders in UP now? Madhya Pradesh and all other places. It is because of this thing that you do not allow anybody to grow. You feel if they grow, they can question you. And that is our tragedy. That is the tragedy of this democracy in our country. I hope this democracy will change.
So we are doing the same.
And leaders will emerge.
So it's same British policy of divide and rule.
Yes,
Don't
it
let
is
the
happening.
Kashmiris unite, you think, and therefore.
I think it is because of their feeling that if there are stronger people and strong forces, they may not listen to them. But I think in democratic India, you will have to have forces which will be able to speak. That is only the way that India can advance into a future democratic country.
But to say that this kind of policy prevents the growth of leaders is incorrect, isn't it? I mean, after all, there's a new generation of leadership coming there. There is your son Omar Abdullah, there is Mehbooba Mufti, there could be others who will come up of that generation.
Wait and see what their fate will be. Wait.
No, fate depends on the electorate. Okay,
No,
people win
not
and
only
lose
electorate,
elections.
a lot of other things that are done, which I don't want to tell you at this time.
All right.
But there are a lot of things that are played behind the scene. A lot of things that are done.
Let's talk of Kashmir and Indo-Pak relations. Now, India and Pakistan for a long time have been trying to put Kashmir, because it's an intractable issue, put it aside for the time being, move on other fronts, build enough confidence, and once you have that kind of confidence in each other, then go and address Kashmir. Now, how comfortable are you with this approach?
Well, let me be very frank and straight about it. India and Pakistan will have to give and take. There is no other way out. Unless there is really peace in India and Pakistan, the progress of Jammu and Kashmir state will never be as fast as it should be. There is tremendous amount of lack of confidence in the industrialists also, so long as this problem remains. Therefore, you have to settle with Pakistan. Merely talking and saying that, oh, everything is right now because the commerce minister has gone and now the speaker of the house has gone and therefore there is better relationship. The minute you come to Kashmir, the entire thing comes to a halt.
No, I was more on tactical
You see, I'm
sequencing.
telling you frankly, this is what I'm telling you, the frank thing, is if you want to really hear, what we should do is really, for once and for all, tell them, look, there is no way that Kashmir is going to become part of you, whatever you do. You better understand this. And thus, this far, we are ready to accede or consider. Beyond that, we are not ready to consider. We have to be very forthright and frank about it. Otherwise, it will keep on like this. And if Americans walk away from the Afghanistan, you have a Taliban problem there. How can you stop those people coming? You've got a huge border. We die. They come with latest weapons and kill innocent people by IEDs, by planting bombs and things. How long am I going to stand this sort of a tragedy?
If I hear you right, what you're saying is, tell them that Kashmir is non-negotiable, and then ties will
It is non-negotiable.
So then ties will improve between India and Pakistan, according to you?
Yes, and then say to them, consider this like this, what do you want us to do? Otherwise, are you ready to give them Kashmir? If you are not going to give them Kashmir, then what are you talking on? What are they wanting?
Okay, so let me ask you this. Quite frankly, does the government consult you before they move on Pakistan, when they take any initiative, or when the ministers go?
No.
You never consulted?
No.
Don't you find it odd that you're a union minister,
it doesn't
expert
make
in
any
Kashmir?
difference. I'm a union minister.
Nobody
Do they take me to Pakistan? I was chief minister of the state of Jammu and Kashmir. When Bajpayee ji went across the border, did he take me along? No. We are red rag to the bull. They will take those people that they will accept. Why can't they accept me? I'm an Indian. I belong to state of Jammu and Kashmir. What stops me from them taking me to Pakistan as an Indian citizen?
But what prevents them from consulting you, even if they don't take you? What
No,
prevents
not
them?
question of consulting. They don't do anything. So the fault lies here.
So we told the Prime Minister that, you know.
What is it telling Prime Minister? Does he not know?
All right,
This is the fact.
Tell our viewers, what is the way forward in Kashmir? Suppose you were to tell the Prime Minister of the country through us that
If
this
I
is
was
what we should
here
do.
at the seat of the Prime Minister of India, I would go across the border and tell them, all right, boys, this is the line. I'm not going to accept any more. Kashmir is part of India. We can make relationship better. We can improve trade. We can improve other things. But the end is here. You either live with us as friends, or then perpetually we will live as enemies.
Okay, one last question, Dr. Abdullah. Do you think you've got your dues from India and Indians?
What are the dues that you expect from Indians? As much as I'm an Indian, so why should I accept any dues or something from them?
Have you achieved your life's ambition, you think?
Why not? What is life's ambition? Progress of my state, my people. Way forward for India, India to grow into a prosperous nation. That is my wish. I don't think I have any other wish more than this.
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah. That's all we have for you today. We'll be back again next week with another interesting personality. Till then, goodbye.